We don't know exactly how long it has been since Buddhism arrived in Thailand. But since the earliest dawn of the country, it has been rooted deeply in the hearts of the Thai people. It has been a very long tradition in the early morning in even the most remote towns and villages in Thailand for lines of monks to walk serenely through the streets on their alms rounds as a gesture to the people who come to offer them food. Buddhism has rooted itself so deeply in the way of life of the people in this serene and fertile land. The tradition of monks in Thailand is very unique in the world, and it might be the only country in Asia where the majority of men have had the experience of becoming monks during the early period of their adulthood. The Thais rarely see ordination to the monkhood as a lifelong commitment. It is more like a period of training for life. The 4 months of ordination that is most common in Thailand is not only a period of training for the young man himself, but also affects the lives of the entire family. The family of the young man is immediately busy as soon as he has informed his parents that he has the inspiration to take the vows of monkhood for the period of a rainy season. Parents, sisters, and relations will have a busy day ahead of them preparing flowers, robes, and offerings for the monks. Every single offering is prepared as neatly as possible because the family members want to give their best when serving a holy person who is living a blameless life. The young man is taken by his parents to see a senior monk called the preceptor, the one who leads the young lad into monkhood, the one sought by the one who longs for ordination. He will then busy himself memorizing the verses necessary for the ordination ceremony, all of which are in Pali, the ancient Indian language thought to have been used by the Buddha. The verses spoken during the ceremony are like the key which unlocks the door of acceptance into monkhood. It is the custom that he should have his head shaved at the break of day by a senior monk, ready for the ceremony. The task is not an easy one, to shave the head of a man completely without drawing forth even a single drop of blood. In the Buddha's time, the senior monk who was responsible for shaving the young men's heads and who was a master of monastic rules was the Venerable Upali, nicknamed the Barber. Many faithful Buddhists pray as they enter the Buddhist monkhood that the merit of their good deed will accrue without delay to help their parents. Ordination is therefore seen as a gesture of gratitude towards their parents for all that they have done for him since his birth, a debt that, without ordination, is very difficult to repay. Clothed completely in white, and shaded beneath a broad white parasol, he enters the ordination ceremony by circumambulating the place of ordination 3 times by the right as a gesture of respect. The family, sponsors, supporters, friends, and well-wishers follow in procession behind the young man. In Thai classical tradition, every movement of life is quiet, calm, and serene. And in keeping with tradition, the young man is conducted into the silence of the sanctuary, where he is to be ordained. His parents follow, one carrying the alms bowl, and the other carrying the saffron robes necessary for the monk's life. The friends and well-wishers follow behind like the members of a huge family, displaying the strength of the bonds of friendship that are characteristic of Thai life. During the procession, the people recollect the virtues of the Lord Buddha, the virtues of the Dhamma, the Buddha's teaching, and the virtues of the Sangha, the noble community of monks. The Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha can be considered as the Trinity of Buddhism, the inherent relationship of which maintains the peace and well-being of all creatures upon the face of the earth. The Lord Buddha is the teacher who gave birth to the Buddhist religion and the Buddhist quest for enlightenment. The Dhamma, his doctrine, is considered to be a kind of medicine, a remedy which heals people from all kinds of suffering. And the Holy Sangha are considered to be the descendants or the children of the Buddha, who have been the lifeblood of Buddhist practice since the passing of the Lord Buddha, down the generations for more than 2,500 years up to the present day. The procession ends inside the temple when the young ordinand reaches the stage of seeking for ordination. He enters the temple sanctuary and the temple itself. He comes into the presence of the assembled community of monks who are sitting in silence on a raised platform next to the main shrine. The ordinand makes an offering to the monk who is the guardian of the sanctuary. Usually, the offering is made of lotus flowers, candles, and sticks of incense. He makes the offering while reciting verses seeking the forgiveness of the Lord Buddha for all the wrongdoings he has committed in his past life up to the present moment. He humbly begs the Buddha to receive his gesture of obeisance. He kneels down in front of the assembly, paying respect 3 times with his head bowed to the ground, in the position of 5-point prostration, both elbows, both knees, and the forehead touched to the ground. In the same way, the ordinand approaches his parents, seeking too their forgiveness for all wrongs previously committed, because to every ordinand, the parents are considered to be as worthy of respect as the holiest of the venerable monks. The ordinand receives the triple robe from the hands of his parents and leaves them to enter into the community of monks, carrying the robes with his hands clasped in the gesture of prayer. He bows down to offer the robes to his preceptor, together with 2 further sets of offerings, one to ask for the forgiveness of the preceptor, and the other to pay homage to the preceptor, who is like his newfound father for his period of monastic life. The young postulant now stands up amongst the assembled brethren and makes his request for ordination in Pali. He then kneels down to offer the robes again to his preceptor, who will immediately give an introductory sermon to him about the life of a monk, and describing the admirable intentions of the young man who seeks ordination. He then withdraws from the community to dress himself in the monk's robes, with the help of a group of monks experienced in the wearing of the robe. The saffron robe comes in 3 parts. The first is a shoulder cloth, reminiscent of the robe of the Buddhist nun. The second part of the set is a waistcloth, fastened by a belt. These 2 garments are covered by an upper robe which wraps completely around his body, leaving only his right shoulder uncovered. This is followed by an outer cloak, which is put over the left shoulder and fastened neatly by a monastic belt which is tied around his torso. Clad in saffron, he approaches the assembly and pays respect to the important monks, who represent the community from whom he will take the 10 precept vows of the novice. This part of the ceremony has been taken by the Thai monkhood as the ordination for novices. In the time of the Buddha, there were 3 types of ordination. The first sort was the type used by the Lord Buddha himself when he gave permission for certain people to become monks, simply by calling Okam Bhikkhu. The second type of ordination is when a person takes the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha as his refuge, a type of ordination which the Lord Buddha authorized his monks to give any person. This sort of ordination survives in Thailand as the ordination ceremony used for novices. The third and last one is ordination by ascertainment, which involves acceptance of a person to become a member of the holy community. This type of ordination ceremony is used for the acceptance of mature adults into the community of monks. Through the vows of a novice, he abstains from killing, stealing, uncelibacy, lying, the drinking of liquor, from eating meals after midday, from wearing perfume or adornments, and from indolent or luxurious sleeping habits. Usually, the period of ordination for a novice lasts no longer than 10 minutes. The novice receives the alms bowl from his parents and enters again into the assembly of monks. The bowl is considered to be a very important requisite for the monk. Inside the bowl, there are many utensils needed for the ascetic life, including a razor and its sharpener for shaving the head, and a water filter for removing insects from drinking water. He is now ready to enter the higher ordination. The novice asks for permission to stay with the preceptor. It is usual for the preceptor to grant permission, and to go on and give some advice identifying each of the utensils and robes which the novice has received from his parents. The bowl is put over the shoulder of the novice, who withdraws slowly from the assembly, to stand near a mat close to the entrance of the temple. The mat will be the standing place for two representatives of the assembly, who come to investigate the various requirements of the new monk. He must have memorized his new Pali name and the name of his own preceptor. He must answer the questions of the representatives about whether he has any disabilities or infectious diseases, such as leprosy, contagious skin diseases, or epilepsy, and whether he is under the power of another person. They check that he is a man, and that he has been given permission by his parents, that he is more than 20 years old, and that he has his own robes and bowl. The representatives will report all the findings to the assembly, and then summon the novice to be investigated in front of all the members of the assembly again. The two representatives will chant in Pali the invitation for all members of the community to decide whether or not to accept that novice as a member of the community. The chanting is repeated in total 3 times for ascertainment, and to give the chance for any of the assembly to raise dissensions about the novice. After the 4th ascertainment is the crucial time when the representatives declare the novice to have been admitted as a new member of the community of monks. With this declaration, the ceremony is complete, and all the monks clasp their hands together in silence, listening to the chanting. Finishing the chanting, one of the representatives receives an offering from the new monk. and he receives another formal instruction from his preceptor. All the monks receive offerings from the parents, family, and friends as a gesture of transferring merit to their deceased relatives. The ceremony ends by the paying of homage by the monks to the preceptor and to the Lord Buddha.